Here.
Dukenyak.
Here.
Toman.
Here.
Gale.
Here.
Guzekowski.
Here. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mr. Sullivan, would you please lead us?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 is the approval of minutes. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the minutes from 5/1/18? If there's no comments, questions, or corrections, motion please.
Dukenyak move to approve the minutes, Common Council minutes of May 1st, 2018.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorik.
Abstains.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Item number 4 is consideration of a resolution to a long-term employee who has retired from us. And when the clerk is ready, I will ask her to read that out to the minutes, please.
Certainly. Resolution number 11940051518, resolution of appreciation to Deborah A. Lukasik, where Deb Lukasik began her employment with the City of Oak Creek on January 14th, 1991 as a steno clerk matron with the Oak Creek Police Department. And whereas on August 1st, 1997, Deb Lukasik transferred to the Recreation Department at City Hall as a secretary. And on March 1st, 2012, Deb was promoted to the department's office manager. And whereas on January 1st, 2014, Deb transferred to the newly designed administrative support team as administrative support assistant. And whereas during her employment with the City of Oak Creek, Deb Lukasik received many accolades for her superior work ethic, including a commendation in 1992 from the Oak Creek Police Department for assistance in the preparation of information for the prosecution in a homicide case. And whereas in 1994, Deb received a letter of commendation from the command staff at the Oak Creek Police Department for her assistance in a time-consuming task of updating and the reporting of crime clearances. And whereas in 1997, Deb received recognition from the Oak Creek Police Department management staff for her coordination efforts in her building inventory project. And whereas in 2014, Deb received recognition from the finance director for assistance on an Excel project, and in 2015 received recognition from the city treasurer for her willingness to learn and assisting others, and a merit award for consistently performing her job duties in a professional and competent manner, for maintaining a positive attitude, suggesting improvements, taking on additional responsibility, and for consistently encouraging others. Whereas Deb provided clerical support for the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Commission, which included scheduling of meetings and tours, preparing agenda packets, and transcribing minutes. Whereas Deb has worked tireless on countless Acorn publications over the year, a thrice yearly publication that provides citizens with departmental information and countless recreational options for young and old alike. Whereas throughout her years of service, both at the Oak Creek Police Department and at City Hall, Deb has carried out her duties as steno clerk matron, secretary, office manager, and administrative support assistant in a professional and courteous manner, and has always worked with department heads, employees, boards and commission members, and the public in a warm, friendly, and helpful manner. Whereas Deb has been an outstanding representative of the City of Oak Creek, and whereas after 27 years and 4 months of dedicated service to the City of Oak Creek, Deb is retiring effective May 18, 2018. And whereas Deb will be truly missed by all with whom she had contact with over the last 27 years, and the City of Oak Creek has benefited tremendously from Deb's tireless dedication and many contributions. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and the Common Council of the City of Oak Creek for and on behalf of the citizens of the City of Oak Creek that sincere appreciation and gratitude be extended to Deb for her many years of dedicated and faithful service to the City of Oak Creek. And the best wishes for good health and happiness be extended to Deb with her and her family on her retirement. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this meeting, and that the city clerk is hereby directed to transmit a suitable copy thereof to Deborah A. Lukasik. Passed and adopted this 15th day of May, 2018.
Thank you, Catherine. Anybody like to say anything about Deb? If not, I'm going to wish Deb and her family a long, happy retirement. Hope she enjoys it. She certainly earned it. And I'd personally like to thank her over the last course of the year when I had to write Acorn articles for really cleaning them up and putting them together better than I actually turned in. So, going to be big shoes to fill for somebody there correcting that stuff for me. So, again, if nothing else, motion please for Deb's proclamation.
Yeah, we'll move to approve Resolution 11940-05-1518, a resolution of appreciation to Deborah A. Lukasik, retiring Administrative Support Assistant.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Dukniak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lurick.
Aye. Next, we have consideration of Council Proclamation number 18-06. It's congratulations to John, Jack, and Lisa Marshall. They are our 2017 Oak Creek Citizens of the Year. This is probably the longest proclamation I've ever seen. It's probably 2 pages. The font is like a car dealership contract, so I'm not going to have Catherine read it fully, but just a few things about Jack and Lisa. If you live in Oak Creek, just about everybody knows them because they've touched so many lives. Their involvement goes from STEM clubs, robotics, the PPG Foundation Jack headed up, Oak Creek Schools. They work closely with Knights Construction, both of them, to help that program succeed. The Boy Scouts, the Eagle Scouts, the Girl Scouts. This is one tremendous couple. They are some of the best people I've ever had the pleasure of meeting, and I'm going to be fortunate to present this proclamation to them here the first weekend in June at our community center. But would somebody like to say anything on their behalf if you know the Marshalls?
Yeah, thanks, Danny. I've known Jack and Lisa for a long time as well, and I echo everything you said. They've been unbelievably involved in the community, spend countless hours and actually a significant amount of money on behalf of themselves and their organizations they represent, and do good things in the city. So we should be very, very thankful that they're involved here.
Agree. I mean, couldn't ask for 2 more deserving people to receive this, so congrats.
Okay. Again, our congratulations go out to John, Jack. I've never heard him called John before, but anyways, Jack and Lisa Marshall, again, so well-deserved, and our community is a far better place for your involvement. Thank you for everything you've done. With that, motion.
We'll move to approve Council Proclamation number 18-06. Congratulations to Jack and Lisa Marshall, 2017 Oak Creek Citizens of the Year.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lurick.
Aye.
Dukniak.
Aye.
And item number 6 is another proclamation consideration to Christine Archambault for her dedicated service to the city of Oak Creek as a member of our celebrations. Would you read that, please, Catherine?
Certainly. Council Proclamation number 1808 to Kristen Archambault for dedicated service to the city of Oak Creek as a member of the Celebrations Commission. Whereas Kristen was appointed to the Celebrations Commission in March 2012 and has served for 6 years. Whereas Kristen has resigned from the Celebration Commission effective April 2018. And whereas Kristen was instrumental in organizing the yearly Easter egg hunt and yearly 4th of July celebration. And whereas Kristen joyfully participated in the summer solstice and the Giving Tree event each year. And whereas Kristen fulfilled the duties of the Celebration Committee with the greatest devotion and pride. And whereas Kristen has served the city in a thorough, conscientious, and professional manner. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and the common council of the city of Oak Creek do hereby show their appreciation and gratitude to Kristen Archambault for her dedicated service to the city of Oak Creek as a member of the Celebrations Commission. Be it further resolved that this proclamation be spread upon the minutes of this meeting, and that the city clerk be, and she is hereby directed to transmit a suitable copy thereof to Kristen Archambault. Introduced and adopted this 15th day of May, 2018.
Thank you. Any comments for Kristen? No? I have had the pleasure of working pretty closely with Celebrations over the years, and over the last 6 years, she really helped elevate that commission to another level. She was instrumental in starting the egg hunt, the summer solstice, many of the events that were mentioned, and she's going to be missed, but she's done her time, and she's done very well for us, and once again, we are in a far better place for her participation, so thank you to Kristen. Motion, please.
We'll move to approve Council Proclamation 18-08 to Kristen Archambault for dedicated service to the city of Oak Creek as a member of the Celebrations Commission.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Brings us to our public hearings. Item number 7 is consideration of a request submitted by Samuel Dickman, the Dickman Company, for a conditional use permit for an outdoor storage on the property at 10861 South Howell. Can we read that public notice, please?
Notice of public hearing before the Oak Creek Common Council. Public hearing number 1 is to consider a request submitted by Samuel Dickman, the Dickman Company, Inc., for a conditional use permit for outdoor storage on the property at 10861 South Howell Avenue. The applicant is Samuel Dickman, the Dickman Company, Inc. Property owner, Woods Park LLC. Legal description there follows. Date of notice is April 18th, 2018.
Doug?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Doug Seymour. I'm the Director of Community Development, and this is a public hearing on a request for a conditional use permit that would allow for the outdoor storage of materials, vehicles, and equipment on the property at 10861 South Howell Avenue. The applicant is requesting approval of this conditional use for outdoor storage. The principal use for storage, for warehousing, that type of thing, is a permitted use in the M1 manufacturing zoning district. It's really the use of the outdoor area for storage that requires the conditional use permit. And per the applicant's narrative, approximately 4.2 acres of the roughly 16-acre parcel will be dedicated to that outdoor storage. We do have a site plan before you this evening as a supplement to the request. So they would have outdoor storage areas for tent products, event rental equipment, propane, portable diesel tanks, portable generators, forklifts, shipping containers, and trailers, all within the fenced area, kind of to the west of the building. The face of the building will face Howell Avenue. So the effect of the outdoor storage will be greatly minimized, and safe to say that not very noticeable, if at all, from Howell Avenue. We talked about what is allowed or being proposed for outdoor storage. I think it's more just as important to talk about what is not being proposed. And as part of this, there would be no outdoor storage of materials that are unrelated to this business or outside of the designated fenced area. So for instance, you shouldn't be seeing boats back there or someone's RV or anything like that. And certainly as a good business in the city of Oak Creek, they've agreed to that portion of the request. The Plan Commission has reviewed the proposed conditional use permit, and they have recommended their approval subject to conditions and restrictions that are attached to this council report. This being a public hearing, I would ask that anyone who has any questions or comments regarding the proposed conditional use permit for outdoor storage for this property to fill out an appearance form. Once your name is called, please approach the podium, give your name, address, and present your questions and or comments to the Common Council. This public hearing is now open.
Thank you, Doug. We will now make the first call. I'll make second call. Anyone wishing to speak? This is the third and final call. Now I'll close the public hearing and move on to item 8, and that's consideration of an ordinance number 2902 approving conditional use permit for the outdoor storage of materials, vehicles, and equipment on the property at 10861 South Howell. Open it up to council. Questions, comments? Chris?
Alderman Guzikowski. So I want to just cover a few things. I want to, first of all, start off by saying thanks to the Dickmans. We kicked this around a few times at Plan Commission with some concerns and questions that were brought up by staff and by, I think also by neighbors. They brought forward a revised plan with the covered area that, took into account the concerns that really all parties had. And it's just going to be a stand-up building. And again, Plan Commission did go through this pretty thoroughly.
Thanks, Mayor. This is my district. I did not hear any feedback from residents who were notified of the public hearing, but I do appreciate and I want to echo Chris's comments for the Dickmans here. This obviously is somewhat of a tough parcel and almost an afterthought to the Oakview Business Park. So we're happy to see a productive use of this particular parcel, and we look forward to having another one of your enterprises in town.
Anyone else? No. No, I want to echo the sentiments. It is a tough property. All parties work together to get what we needed. Just keep in mind, this is a screened and secure lot. It is fully fenced. They are working through with the fire department to make sure everything's properly stored the way it is. And I want to commend them for working with our planning staff to accomplish the covered storage, so to speak. We worked through that pretty well together, I thought. So, again, thank you. But nobody has anything else? Motion, please.
Gail, move to approve ordinance 2902, approving a conditional use permit for outdoor storage of materials, vehicles, and equipment on the property at 10861 South Howell Avenue.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Next, we have consideration of a resolution certifying a certified survey map for Samuel M. Dickman, Oakview Industrial Properties 3 LLC, the City of Oak Creek, and West Park LLC for the properties at 301 and 304 West Oakview Parkway and 10861 South Howell.
Thank you. As a part of this same development proposal, this certified survey map is being requested. And the reason that it is being requested, and I think Alderman Gale touched on it a little bit, is when the Oakview Business Park was developed, the utilities and the infrastructure were not necessarily developed to service or fully service the southerly parcel. So it's a great use, a great use of that property, but it presents some challenges with respect to serving that with sanitary sewer. And one of the solutions was for a lateral to come down through Oakview Parkway. Now, without getting too deep into the weeds here, I mean, State Public Service Commission does not allow private laterals to cross private property to get to another property, such that a certified survey map is being required in this instance, which essentially provides a 30-foot strip, which allows the sanitary sewer lateral to be put in place from Oakview Parkway, and will make that part of the Arena Americas parcel, the Dickman parcel, to be in conformance with the state's PSC ruling with respect to provision of sanitary sewer. And that's really the principal reason for this. Actually, the only reason for this is to provide that vehicle to allow the sanitary sewer lateral.
Thank you, Doug. Questions, comments? Ken?
Thanks, Mayor. Just appreciation to obviously Community Development, Engineering, Water Utility for working hard to get a solution here to this particular parcel. Was not an easy fix, but one was found, and we're happy to have it.
On anyone else? Seeing none, motion.
Gail, move to approve resolution 11942-051518, approving a certified survey map for Samuel M. Dickman, Oakview Industrial Properties 3 LLC, the City of Oak Creek, and West Park LLC for the properties at 301 and 401 West Oakview Parkway and 10861 South Howell Avenue.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Gets us to new business. Item number 10 is consideration of a motion to designate USA Today Network, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and South Now Edition to serve as the official city newspaper for the next 12 months. So we go through this every year. This is kind of nothing new. Eric is here to answer questions. Take it easy on him, though. Any questions? We do need a newspaper to suffice for notices and what have you. So they are the vehicle that we've been using the past few years. Any questions? None? Mike?
Mike, answer.
Alderman Mike Tolman. I just have to be on the record by, I know you guys are tired of hearing it, but hopefully the state law will be changed someday, and I will live to see it. A lot of money spent on something that nobody reads. I rest my case.
There you go.
Doug?
If I may, and I'm certainly not the expert on this, but I believe that there has been a few revisions to the good in the state law that allows the second or subsequent publication of the same notice, for instance, a Class 2 notice, to have a brief version of that rather than going through the whole, the entire notice. So some movement in the right direction for you.
We're cutting down on the lines, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Progress.
But it is still warranted today, so it's a necessary evil going on. But I do enjoy the paper. I still get it daily. So.
I'm just talking about the legal notice.
Yeah,
not the
I know. So, motion, please.
Bill move to approve, move to designate the USA Today Network Milwaukee Journal Sentinel South Now edition to serve as the official city newspaper for the next 12 months.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Dukniak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye. Item 11 is consideration to approve the May 9th, 2018 vendor summary report. Here to answer your questions is Bridget. So if everybody please take a look. Bridget, or I guess this would be Mike, item number 8, is that a partial payment on the restrooms, or is that just one draw?
That is a partial payment. It is the second payment. First one was considerably less. The entire contract is about $190,000. So project is quickly wrapping up. It should be complete in 2 weeks. So we may see one, perhaps two more payments as the project gets filed out.
And as long as I have you, then item 12, is that another partial payment or is that final payment?
It is, and it's getting very close to the final payment. The contract is substantially complete. They are working on a rather lengthy punch list of items to bring everything to a satisfactory completion.
On that same note, when is the public going to have access to that pavilion?
Don't have a date to give you right now. I would say probably late June would be when they would have when there would be occupancy on the building.
In late June, but the farmer's market is second weekend in June, first weekend?
First weekend.
Right, now we're talking about two different, right now we're talking about the Lake Vista Park
Yep,
project.
got
The restrooms, 2 weeks, we expect to be operational, ready for
Thank you.
business.
All right. Try to confuse you.
I guess as long as we're on construction, we got you, Mike. Item 4 for the EOC, is that the last one?
This is the final payment for the EOC. So that is complete.
Other questions? Seeing none, motion.
Oracle will move to approve the May 9th, 2018 vendor summary report in the combined total amount of $680,551.42.
Dukniak, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukniak.
Aye.
Number 12 is informational for the water quality sample information. With us, Mike Sullivan from the Water Department.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to take an opportunity to talk about some water sampling that we recently have done. We do hundreds of samples every month, and in this case, we noticed on some of our water quality samples we had an elevated DBP, or disinfection byproducts, result that came back. Disinfection byproducts are the result of us adding chlorine to the water to disinfect it. That chlorine then reacts with organics in the water, creating these disinfection byproducts. They are not something that you would like to have in the water. But we use chlorine then again to disinfect the water. We're trying to kill pathogens, viruses, protozoan, and microbes that are in the water, bacteria as an example. We're trying to kill that, and there's a balance between adding chlorine to the water, killing those microorganisms, and developing the formation of this disinfection byproducts. So it is a delicate balance. It's something that we look at. We know that chlorine does a very good job for us. We know the EPA says it's of greatest concern is killing the microorganisms in the water. We know the CDC says that disinfected water has been one of the greatest achievements in more than 100 years. So it is something very important. There are some side effects, as I'll talk about here. So the two things we did after we received this result for the high disinfection byproducts number, and the first thing is we chose to send a note, or we'll be sending a notice to every customer so that they can understand what this disinfection byproduct number, what it means, what it's all about, what they need to do, what they can do with regard to the water. Then we also chose to resample that site. It was one of 2 sites that we sample. It was one of our samples in a quarterly regime that we do that came in a bit high. Those repeat samples came back in normal, as we would expect, and I'll give you a few of the numbers. The average, we look at annual average for disinfection byproducts, and the annual average for that site now is 0.14 milligrams per liter. The standard is 0.08 milligrams per liter, and our typical in the city is 0.03. So that was an elevated number for us. As we resampled that location, we were at 0.033. So right back down to where we would expect to see it. Question is, why were the results elevated? The reason why is a sample site is a bad site. It's a site that has a very long, very large lateral. The lateral is put in for fire protection primarily, not considering the domestic use. And that lateral is long. It's over 700 feet long, so you get stagnation of water when you don't have a lot of domestic use inside the building. In this case, when the DNR first chose that site to be sampled, we informed them this isn't a good location. This isn't sampling the system's water, it's sampling private plumbing. And that's not what this test is intended to do. The DNR has been considering the change, we'll say. We've been working with them, have not been able to get that site changed. We've been testing ever since. In this instance, we got this elevated number. Again, it's not sampling our water, which is the unfortunate part. So what we've done is we worked again with the DNR after they've seen this, and they know that the DBP formation with the use of chlorine is consistent with our source water, Lake Michigan. So all the utilities up and down the lake have very low disinfection byproduct numbers, as we would expect. This one is an anomaly. We talked to the DNR about that and how our sampling regime, our sampling or a sampler, his instructions are to run the water in that sample tap until the temperature stabilizes. The idea is the temperature gets to a cooler temperature where you're sampling the system water. Our sampler did that, except he ended up still sampling the water that was stagnant in that lateral. So it's a bit of a problem with the sampling regime, if you will, the sampling instructions, because of this long lateral. So the DNR is now motivated to work with us in changing that site. We have an alternate site picked out we think is better representative of our system. They seem supportive of that, which is very good news for us. What can we do as a base to stop the formation of disinfection byproducts? The answer is add less chlorine. And as we look at what we add now, one way to add less chlorine is add a different disinfection method. We've been here before and talked about our water quality improvement project, where we propose to add ultraviolet light disinfection that can take some of the load off the chlorine system. So you don't have to add as much chlorine because the UV system is disinfecting some of those pathogens in the water. That provides the ability for less disinfection byproducts to form. The problem with that project is Franklin has continued to oppose the project. That's caused delays and increasing cost to the project. So we're not there yet on that. But what I want everyone to know is the water is safe, has always been safe. There is nothing for the customers to do. There's no need to do anything with the customers. And we will continue to follow up with additional notices once every 3 months to all of the customers until our average gets down below the standard of 0.08. That's going to take a year to do. So we know that's coming up again to remind the customers of that. I'm the point person, so if you get any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those from any of the customers. We'll have talking points out for the people at the front counters, both at the water utility and here at City Hall. So if they get questions coming in, they can be armed a bit with some knowledge as well, and then they can pass off to me if there's more technical questions.
Questions for Mike?
Alderman Mike Tillman, there's only one customer that can say that's being served?
Of this particular lateral, yes, yeah. The intention, so we sample in 2 sites throughout the city. The intention is to get a representative sample of what's in the city system. In this case, yeah, it's a long lateral there.
Nothing else in the neighborhood adjacent to that lateral?
No, the DNR is really picky on where you sample. Once they pick a site, you absolutely have to sample at that site. So we're working with them diligently, but because of things that happen in Flint, they're very resistant to any change or any modification, or even taking this sample, and we've shown them that this sample probably should be invalidated. Well, no, not anymore. Everything is a valid sample, unless the lab can come back and say they didn't test it correctly, but they did. So the sample remains as a valid sample, even though our repeat samples show that clearly that level is where we would expect it. So we have picked another site that we think is far more reasonable to measure our system, and it sounds like the DNR is receptive to that.
Anyone else?
Mayor, I could just add,
Go ahead, Andrew.
in some, the good news is the water's safe.
Yes.
We had a unfortunate sample site that was chosen for us, and we're working on getting that sample site changed.
Correct.
Some positive momentum there. The bad news is every resident gets a notice in the mail regarding the negative sample, and consecutively for a period every 3 months until that average is down. So you know, for the sake of the aldermen here, that's what we're contending with here.
Right. There will be
several
some.
months.
We expect the first notice to go next week. That'll be included with our annual water quality report, so there'll be a bit of information for the customers as well. The follow-ups will just be that letter notice, yes.
I did notice there was a allowable caveat in the notice on the questionable sample site as well. So that was good to see that in there.
Yes.
To I guess provide some justification and relax some concerns there, hopefully.
Right.
Mike, I want to thank you for being very proactive and transparent about this, and providing the information you're doing in such a timely manner. And again, just reiterating, the water is safe. It is kind of an anomaly. I did see the numbers. The DNR knows it's an anomaly, but again, you have to follow state law. So for the next year, you're going to be getting asked the same question
Yes.
quite a bit.
And we're always happy to talk about our water, so
Agreed. Yeah, we're proud of our water. So
thank you, Mayor.
okay.
I
Chris?
just want to also thank the water utility. They reached out to me because this happens to be in my district, just to talk to me offline about this and make sure that if I had any questions or concerns, that they were there to answer them. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Mike. Item 13, consideration of a motion to authorize staff to begin contract negotiations with Vision for the website redesign services, maintenance, and hosting. So it looks like we have Kevin in here tonight. Hey, this is like your debut, eh? Well, welcome.
Thank you. So, as part of the city strategic action plan, the Safe, Welcoming, and Engaged Community Critical Success Factor, the city set up a website redesign committee to review potential vendors and site features of those vendors. After a couple months of perusing other municipal websites in Wisconsin and throughout the U.S., the committee decided to solicit Civic Plus, Revise, and Vision to see what they had to offer the city. And after viewing their demos and their proposals, it is the recommendation of the committee that we go with Vision for the website redesign and hosting. The total cost is listed in the CCR, as well as the cost for Civic Plus and Revise. And if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them.
Mayor, if I could add a source of funds here, as identified in the staff report, a source of funds for the website overhaul, really a redo, complete redo of the website is set aside for strategic action plan items. So that money is reserved. We did earmark $30,000 in this year's budget. Again, the funding source behind that was the special fund for strategic action plan items. We were a little light on that. Some of us warned that we might be light, given we had to do a complete overhaul on that. But I defer to the committee. As you see, this is not the cheapest option for the city to consider. I don't think we want our portal to the outside world to be the cheapest option. And in that regard, I don't always bring forward recommendations for the less expensive option. But I defer to the committee on this. They did a lot of hard work on this. the bulk of your work is ahead of you yet as you migrate content and redesign our website for us. But again, I defer to the committee on that. Ever since I've been on board here about 18 months or so, I haven't received a positive comment on our website, either internally or externally. And apparently the council felt the same and adopted this initiative in our strategic action plan. So this is one of a couple pretty big items in furtherance of our strategic action plan. The other one being the Abendschein Park Master Plan update we'll discuss a little bit later. We will be very busy the next 3 or 4 council meetings with various strategic action plan initiatives and analyses that have been worked on for many months. Those are kind of coming together all at one time, not necessarily purposefully, but we'll be busy working that strategic action plan here in the next several council meetings. So again, I would defer to the committee's recommendation to go with Vision on this, and be happy to answer any questions.
Then also just another note too, Steve Lanier from Vision is also in the audience as well, and he can answer questions if needed as well.
Council have questions?
Yeah, Kevin, Leslie, you, and maybe even the audience participant. I'm just looking at the upfront cost is what it is. The annual maintenance stuff I see is actually from an ongoing basis is somewhat higher as well for Vision. And I do note in your options and alternatives paragraph you do cite there's potentially some functionality and features that maybe lead to that. Can you just shed some light on that for us?
So with Vision, Vision was actually purchased by Granicus as well. So that opens up the ability for additional APIs and software. Compared to the other vendors that submitted proposals, the APIs that Vision had to offer were significantly reduced compared to what
the APIs, Kevin, are.
It's
for
basically
us, this is mind-numbing stuff. Yeah. Remember,
so an API is basically an integration between the website and various software like Laserfish and Granicus if we had it, or all of our other applications. The other big piece that it has is a whole forms module. That's one thing that is lacking on our website. So we can even do e-payments and e-signatures using this vendor for the website.
So from in your standpoint, the way your committee evaluated this is that is well worth our investment to spend a little more every year for.
It is, yep. And then another big piece as well is the geo services. So a resident in the city would be able to go in and enter their street address, and it would tell them who the representatives are, what garbage route they're on, and any other information that we can tie to that address.
Do we have annual maintenance costs for the current host or?
On the current website, it is self-hosted. That's one thing we wanted to move away from, just with all the news of hacks and everything in the municipal space. Closing one outside hole to our internal network is always a good thing. And by having them host it, it is a significant improvement compared to what we have currently.
Probably had.
Correct. Yeah, we don't have any support or maintenance on our current website. The other piece with the annual maintenance is starting after year, I believe 2 or 3, Steve would be able to specify that clear. There is built-in credits for a website redesign or revamp that we can use each year from 3, 4, and 5, or at the end to do a bulk redesign of the website. And that adds, so it would reduce the cost to redesign it at year 5.
Andrew, you may be able to say, do we have a funding source for ongoing?
No, we do not. We will have to budget for that. That was probably the bulk of our conversation Kevin and I had on this. Why the same questions you asked, Ken, but we are in moving forward. We are designating or setting ourselves up to ensure that we have to find the annual hosting fee in the upcoming budgets, plural, each year.
I mean, from a city standpoint, you got to have a robust, functional website. So it's going to cost you something. So, a product that is usable and visually impactful is going to be obviously useful for us. So it's, $11,000 a year for a product that serves the community well. It seems to be a robust and valid investment.
Chris?
Alderman Guzikowski. So, a couple questions, just out of curiosity. What is our website usage? Like, how many hits? Is it every time someone hits the site, or is it? I'm just curious.
I'd have to look that number up again.
Okay.
But I know our current website is not very mobile friendly. And as part of the mobile, or as part of the web design, we are paying a little extra to have it so we can do a custom mobile site. So that way it would be more like an app based instead of just compressing our standard website down to a phone. So that was one major thing that the committee was looking at, but I can get you the number of.
I guess
if you'd like.
it'd be nice just so we going forward, just so we can kind of see if we can compare data, because you're right. I think right now it's painfully obvious, even for so many of the citizens when we're trying to use it, that it's very difficult to use. Now, just on that note, did we invite Savage Solutions to bid on this, or is it because of the hosting issues mostly? Or?
So our current website was done by Savage, and it was their content management platform and everything. It is not very user-friendly on the back end to administer. So that's one of the reasons we focused, the 3 vendors that we went with, focused solely on municipal or government space websites.
Okay. And then is there going to be a way that we can integrate everything that's happening at the police and fire department? And we seem like we have a city website, but should we be looking at some type of websites that are branching off to the police and fire departments and everything else within the community, or is this?
That is an option. I know the library just last year did a redesign, but as that was done in-house, so it didn't cost anything. So they're going to allocate the funds that they set aside for that and use them for this redesign. So Vision offers a couple different levels of subsites. So the library is going to go with a basic subsite. So they get their own domain name, a couple different buttons. It will still have the look and feel of the main website, but the menu structure and everything will be a little different. Then there's another option that's a little more expensive that would be a great option for the tourism committee in the Visit Oak Creek site. And then the nice piece with that is if we use all these subsites through Vision, it all ties into the same backend. So you post it one time and then it spreads to the other websites. So all the calendars and everything would integrate with each and every website.
And that's kind of, I guess, where I was, big picture, whole picture. If you're trying to figure out what's going on at the PD or the fire department, everything's happening on the same day. You don't ever know really. So ultimately, if there's, if we can go to one website, whether it drives us to another one or not, somehow you want to be able to just get it a lot easier and a lot quicker going to one location instead of having 3 different or 4 different or 10 different websites on your iPad.
And another nice thing too with the calendar of this provider is there's an option for residents and community events to submit on the website, and then approval process in the back end, and that would also appear on our calendar under a community events tag.
That I've had a lot of customers, a lot of citizens ask about that. In fact, many of the different functions that I've gone to this year, do we have the ability to publish? So people, again, same thing. If there's the Italian night out held by the Kiwanis, not everybody knows about it, but if it's all on one site, or you can get it to one site, if there's a way to do it, then more people can, obviously know about it. So, thank you.
Else, Rich, anything? Okay. I guess I agree with Andrew. We're an up-and-coming city. We're growing. This is the face of our organization. It has to look A1. If we're going to be an A1 organization here, we got to look A1 in cyberspace too. So can't cheap out on it. That's for sure. So nothing else? Motion, please.
They'll move to authorize staff to begin contract negotiations with Vision for website redesign services, maintenance, and hosting.
Guzikowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzikowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Tillman.
Aye.
Now have consideration of a motion to accept the lowest qualified quote from LJ Contractors to replace the roof and siding at the Miller Park Pavilion in the amount of $36,795. And we have Ted with us tonight from Straits.
Yeah, hi. A pretty simple, straightforward project. We're happy to, because of the budget being below $50,000, be able to use the simple bid method, which is sending out for quotations for. That way, we were able to get a lot more local contractors. That was our goal, was try to get some of the local contractors to get some of our projects. We're happy with LJ Contractors, and they're just right up the road on Putes Road in Franklin. So we've talked to them about it. They're comfortable with their bid. They're a little bit lower than the other two. I'm comfortable that they can do the job. And I think it'll be an improvement for the Miller Park Pavilion.
Questions for Ted? Chris?
I could just mention that this was discussed at Parks and Rec Commission last week, and there was conversations really about color and about aesthetics, but really they were all just in support of just how much of a difference it'll make just kind of freshening up the building.
Else? Just a couple for me. You're going with metal roof?
Yeah, standing seam,
Okay.
24 gauge.
That's different. And then aluminum siding or vinyl?
It's LP Smart Siding. It's I guess it's more of like a composite. It's not quite composite.
That's
It's-
the cement.
No,
masonry board?
that's Hardy Plank. We were kicking back and forth between Hardy Plank and LP Smart Siding. Both very good products. We landed on the LP Smart. It's kind of a composite board and glued together. It's still painted, and it's paintable if it gets tagged, or you can sand it down if somebody scrapes something in it and stuff like that. So it's one of the reasons we selected it.
That current siding, is that cedar siding?
No, it's more like a plywood.
So obviously what you're putting on will give a much longer lifespan than what we've currently got on that building.
Yeah, actually, we're stripping all of the old exterior products off of the building and wrapping it in Tyvek and that, and putting a new siding and new soffit and fascias on it and that. So
Free for you.
for a little while. anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Just one last question. Timeline on this. Is it going to affect rentals?
We're working with the contractor and with Recreation to make sure that we don't goof up any of the rentals for the property.
Thank you. If nothing else, motion on 14, please.
Bill, move to accept the lowest qualified quote from LJ Contractors to replace roofing and siding at the Miller Park Pavilion in the amount of $36,795.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Item 15 is consideration of a motion to award Milwaukee Nicholson intersection improvements project to the lowest responsible bidder, DC Burbach Inc., for the unit bid price of $144,658.72. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the intersection improvement project, the shared project with the city of South Milwaukee for Milwaukee and Nicholson / Pennsylvania Avenue. This was a month ago. This was before the council, and we were directed to enter into the agreement for the shared project with South Milwaukee and to complete the plans and advertise them for bid. And we did open the bids last week. And I should say bid. We did get one bid from DC Burbach for its unit price contract for the $144,658.72. They've done work in the city in the past. They're a reputable contractor. We were disappointed that we did just get the one bid. We had a lot of contractors holding plans. Nonetheless, we felt comfortable, and South Milwaukee as well felt comfortable to go ahead with the award. We are under budget, the budgeted amount for the award. I should note that we did get one second bid, but it was 10 minutes late. The Contractor got stuck in traffic. He did tell us what his bid was, and it was not the lowest bid, so if that's any consolation. So we would like to recommend that the project be awarded and we proceed on with the construction. The contract is slated such that it would not start before school is out, and the intersection would be closed and traffic detoured around, and it will be completed well before school is back open.
Questions for Mike?
Like, so the road, do I have a full closure on the road at some point?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, we've got a detour built into the design, and they have to go through South Milwaukee. We don't have any other roads that we can route them through. South Milwaukee is on board with this.
Obviously, though, the one subdivision on the Oak Creek side with the single entrance, they'll be able to access.
Yes.
Nothing else? Motion, please.
Clerk will move to award the Milwaukee-Nicholson Intersection Improvements Project to the lowest responsive responsible bidder, DC Burbach, Inc., for the unit bid price of $144,658.72.
Dukenyak, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Item 16 is consideration of a resolution approving the stormwater management practice maintenance agreement with Boylan Properties Oak Creek LLC, the All-Star Buick GMC development located on 27th Street and West Rawson Avenue. Mike.
And this is the standard stormwater maintenance agreement that is required of all developments, and so no different here. They do have on-site stormwater detention that will be constructed and will have to be maintained. They have 2 ponds that they will be constructing, and this agreement basically solidifies their responsibility to maintain the ponds.
Okay. Questions for Mike? Anything? Kind of timely. We're at a water seminar, so to speak, today on stormwater. Mike had made mention that we had some pretty heavy rains here, and noticeably our stormwater management is working because we had less flooding throughout the city, standing water, things like that. So, all right, if nothing else for Mike, motion.
Clerk will move that the council adopt resolution number 11939-051518, a resolution approving a stormwater management practices maintenance agreements with Boylan Properties Oak Creek LLC for their All-Star Buick GMC development located at South 27th Street and West Rawson Avenue.
Dukenyak, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Item 17 is consideration of a resolution approving ICAP Drexel's development agreement for the design and installation of public improvements at 410 and 500 West Drexel Avenue.
So the development agreement for this site includes all the public infrastructure that they must construct as they develop, and in this instance, it is a public sidewalk along the Drexel Avenue frontage that will tee into the existing sidewalk that runs along the 6th Street frontage. It also includes the modifications that are required to the medians on the adjacent roads. And the agreement basically just outlines that they will construct it to the city standards, and we will inspect the work as it is constructed, and they will be responsible for the cost of the inspection and, of course, the cost of the infrastructure itself.
Questions? Comments? Motion.
Clerk will move that the council adopt resolution number 11941-051518, approving the ICAP Drexel development agreement for the design and installation of public improvements at 410 and 500 West Drexel Avenue.
Dukenyak, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Item 18 is consideration of to enter into a motion to enter into an agreement with Stantec, the amount of $58,850 to complete an update to the city's Avonshine Park Master Plan. Doug?
Sure, I'll take that one. as part of the strategic plan, and I will note that looking at that and the staff report that Pete completed, I think that's the first time we've seen all 6 strategic plans, critical success factors checked. So it's kind of a testament to how this kind of touches a lot of different touch points for their strategic plan. But the plan identified updating the master plan for Abendschein Community Park, the city's only community park, as a key initiative, and authorized staff to release an RFP for that purpose. The RFP was released in April, and the deadline was in May. Staff received 4 proposals prior to the deadline. And the Parks and Recreation Commission, and I'll let Alderman Guzikowski chime in if he wants to talk about how they came to this conclusion, but they selected Stantec for that purpose, based on their experience within the community previously, as well as some of their national experience in designing similar park plans. I will note that a $60,000 CIP item has been approved for this. The award comes in for slightly less than that, at $58,850. But that would be the recommendation, would be to concur with the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Commission's recommendation and choose Stantec for these Abendschein Park Master Plan work.
Any questions? Chris, would you like to elaborate?
Just other than the Parks and Rec Commission did discuss this on Thursday when we met last week, and Pete had everything really ready to go for us. Everything was well out very thoroughly, but by and large, when you looked at all the bids, Stantec was probably not the lowest, but we're getting the most bang for our buck with the types of services that we're going to get with the different public meetings versus private and public engagements, along with the meetings within with staff. So this is going to be something that we're looking forward to taking on as it starts to start rolling.
Chris, I have a question. Alderman Rich Dukniak. There's been some significant community discussion about the expansion of school district baseball facilities at Abendschein Park. Has that been taken into consideration in regard to this new updated master plan, or have there been discussions about it at all?
Well, I guess I'll tell you what I think, and then I can let Doug chime in afterwards. But I think based upon the master plan, it's part of our strategic plan. It's what should this park be used for, and so that'll all come through the engagement as we start looking at what's going on there. Now, I don't know that our needs are the same as they were 10 years ago or 5 years ago, but this all has to be kind of fleshed out. Doug?
I totally agree with you, Alderman Guzikowski. I mean, the plan, the public participation, and stakeholder portions of the plan will dictate what that park wants to be and what communities that'll serve. I will kind of anecdotally say I think that there are other studies and possible solutions toward meeting that recreational need for baseball diamonds in the city that do not rely on Abendschein Park to accomplish that, and those are being done by others, and specifically the school district, and advancing some additional proposals that would solve their needs for that second diamond.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Alderman Toman. Doug, there is a plan in place right now, correct?
Yes.
I spoke to this at strategic planning. I had a lot of questions on advancing this. Give me something I can latch on to here. I just don't see another 58 thrown at this update on this plan that we should be doing at Abendschein right now. I mean, what's wrong with the existing plan, and what are we getting for our new plan?
Sure. I think I can take a stab at that, and certainly Chris can help out too. A couple of things are happening. First of all, the existing plan kind of shows some facilities that are not in their optimal location. Specifically, the baseball diamond that we do show, we know is severely restricted or impacted by the presence of wetlands and may or may not be actually developable in its current form. I would also suggest that opportunities that have presented themselves for making additions to the park and to the parkway system along the Oak Creek that have come up recently create new opportunities for us to program certain spaces within that park that weren't even envisioned back when the original plan was done.
it also seems that, if I recall correctly, this plan may already be, memory, 10 years old-ish.
2008.
So, 10 years old, our city has changed and evolved a lot in 10 years. So the discussion at Parks and Rec is, do we need, what's the best use for this park? So is it going to be, frisbee golf or what is it? But, going to the wetlands, I mean, we know that currently, is it the scoreboard or there's something, I think it might be the scoreboard. Well, we didn't realize a lot of things when things were originally placed, but something's right next to a little creek that runs by. So it's the original layouts that, in hindsight, they may have done things just a bit differently, but ultimately what's the total and best use for that park given everything it's got going on?
And I think as we move forward and driving towards completion of our goals and objectives and advancement of our mission statement, there are recreational activities and community activities that, quite frankly, weren't even in anyone's thought process when the original plan was done.
I would agree with you, Doug. I mean, if you go back, I was on Park and Recs for quite a while. We have a cricket field in Abendschein Park. That was never part of the plan. We envisioned a baseball field kind of in the middle part. Wetlands kind of took that away in the parking lot costs, which would have functionally took away the disc golf. We also looked at a rugby field there at one time for the high school. So things have changed, and then probably the most important thing in the last 10 years is another large community park emerged on the lakefront, which started to satisfy some needs that were there. And even last year, we held a beer garden in that park. So you may have to look at that going forward strategically. So some of the needs that Abendschein was going to have, I think Lake Vista may be able to shoulder in the future too, because I'm sure when they do this plan, they're going to look at what we have in the park and what could be there. So.
Mike, sorry, Mike.
Okay.
I know where you were at with this in strategic planning, and I don't disagree with you. And I think what we did from a terminology standpoint in terms of a compromise is we don't want to be back here in 10 years looking at, well, how are we going to finish Abendschein Park? This is supposed to be a once and for all type of a plan to program the space, the space that we want to, that remains. And it should be kind of an executable plan that we can attack as a community over the next few years to really put Abendschein Park in its ultimate state, but obviously things change in the future and those types of things. But carry out a once and for all vision for Abendschein Park.
I agree with moving forward, but I do not think for the cost of this project, this 58,000 plus that we're throwing at it. Number one, if a delineation of wetlands, I don't think that's going to change much. That's just my opinion. I might be wrong on that. I think the biggest change over the years, and if you want to update this, would be the change in what the mayor just referred to as maybe our premier park on the lakefront. And given that the park impact fees, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's one pot and they can be spent at various parks around the city. So I see that, personally, I see that as the biggest change. And we should be throwing the dollars at Lake Vista. Not ignoring Abendschein, don't get me wrong, but I think that money would be better spent on the lakefront. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I just, sorry, Mayor. I think those two parks, as they kind of build out and kind of get finalized, are really different audiences for different times of your day and your life and your weekend. I think Lake Vista more of a natural setting, picnics, lakefront, water related. Lake Vista is, Abendschein is, I think from a neighborhood standpoint, a much more kind of active place in terms of sporting, biking, hiking. I think in general, you can look at those as not necessarily exclusive of one another, but complementary, that they're going to serve audiences in a different way at different times, or even at the same time. So I think you can spend money on both, and it's good to have a vision. And even the 2008 Auburn plan was one of the first things I remember seeing when I was elected. It's from almost the day you used it, it was taken out of order. You added things, like Dan said. There's a cricket field there, for God's sakes. The skate park wasn't there to begin with. Was that east? If people remember that. So I think we can do both, and I think they require commitment on both, and unfortunately a little bit of money too. So
I would just also add, Alderman Guzikowski, the last piece of the puzzle is that is not actually Mike, the Alderman Tolman, sorry. That was not the highest bid. That was actually the second highest bid.
Any further discussion? Questions? Not? Motion.
Gail will move to enter an agreement with Stantec in the amount of $58,850 to complete an update to the City of Oak Creek Alpenstein Park Master Plan.
Guzikowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Okay. Item 19, it's really the License Committee, and Alderman Kirkowski is not with us tonight, so who takes it from here?
Rich can do
Hi,
it.
Rich. Sure. The License Committee, we did not meet prior to tonight's council meeting. We have tentative recommendations as follows for operator's license. These are the 5 individuals listed on the Common Council report, item number 19. Yeah, I mean,
Motion?
motion, okay, then Dukenyak move to approve the 5 individuals listed on the 5:15 council meeting agenda for operator's license.
Oracle second.
Just, Dan, sorry.
Yes, go ahead, Ken.
Sorry, Rich, just make sure that your motion includes the amusement operators that are part of that.
That was going to be the second part, and I didn't know there was.
We only have
to
one
do all
item
at
there,
once?
so just make it all part of one.
Okay, and then, I've been instructed to revise the motion, so that's okay. By the suggestion of council, we'll revise that motion. Dukenyak moved to grant operators licenses to the 5 individuals listed on the License Committee report, and to grant amusement operators and amusement device licenses to the 4 businesses listed on the committee report.
Gail seconds. Oh, sorry. Greg seconds.
Oracle second.
There you go.
Someone second. All right,
right.
roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Item 20 is consideration of a motion to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State statutes to discuss the following. A, Section 1985, Parent 1, Parent C, Parent E, and Parent G, to consider a separation agreement with Becky Schumer. Item B, Section 1985, Parent 1, Parent E, to consider a proposed development agreement between the City of Oak Creek and Oakview Industrial Properties 3 LLC regarding the property at 10861 South Howell Avenue. Common Council President Gale.
Thank you, Mayor. Gail will move to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State statutes to discuss the following. A, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub C, Sub E, and G, to consider a separation agreement with Becky Shermer. B, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, to consider a proposed development agreement between the City of Oak Creek and Oakview Industrial Property 3 LLC regarding the property at 10861 South Howell Avenue.
Guzikowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorick.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
We will now convene into closed session, and we will return at its conclusion.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
And item 22 is consideration to take motion if required. Ken?
Yeah, Gail will move to approve a separation agreement with the former HR manager.
Guzikowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Toman.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye. And item 23 is consideration of a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a financial development agreement by and between the City of Oak Creek and Oakview Industrial Properties 3 LLC. Andrew.
Thanks, Mayor. If I could just give a little bit of background for public consumption on this. And I'm going to deviate a little bit, but as the council is well aware, the city has established a business retention and expansion visitation program. That was something that was endorsed by the council in our strategic plan. And it's really an opportunity for us to get out and talk to existing businesses in the community that have contributed to this economy and this quality of life in the city for, as we're finding, anywhere from 75 years on to a few years. One of the things I do at each of those meetings is let them know that our intention is to, get to know them, develop a communication channel between themselves and the city, a rapport. And in the end, I always say, it'd be really nice if you need to tell us tomorrow that you need to blow the doors out and grow your tax, grow your building and your business because you're doing so well. And in the end, we benefit from added tax base. That's almost a little tongue-in-cheek, but we've actually had some success in that. And although we haven't been to Arena Americas for a retention visit yet, we have the opportunity here with this finance development agreement to keep a international company doing business, growing and expanding their business in Oak Creek, which is really the heart of that business retention and expansion program. It's kind of the cherry on top. So we have been working with the developers, the Dickman Company, to site this. And as was mentioned earlier in the evening, the CSM and the CUP that was approved earlier relate to this project. There were some challenges to this site from a utility standpoint, from a mass grading standpoint, and I think Alderman Gale summed it up. It was really an afterthought to the Oakview Business Park. But it was part of the tax increment district for the Oakview Business Park. So in looking at those extraordinary site costs to kind of normalize this site with Oakview Business Park, and in the end and ultimately keep our goal of keeping an Oak Creek business doing business in Oak Creek and even growing in Oak Creek, we arrived at a finance development agreement to help out with some of those costs. The specifics of that is a pay-go payment in consecutive years after a minimum assessed value of $8.5 million is achieved of new tax base. For the folks at home, that's about $176,000 in annual taxes to the tax increment district. Annual payments of $175,000, 2 consecutive payments for a total city grant of $350,000. What I thought was really unique in this discussion was, although the finance development agreement is, we're engaging in agreeing to this with the developer Oakview Industrial Property 3, the development agreement as negotiated, and willing negotiator there on the part of the Dickman Group, that $350,000 is being conferred. The benefits of the city grant are being conferred to the actual end user, the business. So we found that to be a really important thing to get out there. And with that, I don't know if there's any specific questions that the council may have in the public venue on this, but I think this is a very clean, simple development agreement that benefits a growing Oak Creek company.
Thank you, Andrew. Anybody else? Nothing else?
It will move to approve resolution 11943-051518, approving and authorizing execution of a finance development agreement by and between the City of Oak Creek and Oakview Industrial Property 3 LLC.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Aye.
Before we move to adjournment, I'd like to personally thank Dickman Company. You've been great partners to the city. Oakview Business Park in particular, again, we really appreciate the partnership you guys have extended with us. Just greatly appreciate it. Sam, can you come to the microphone, please?
We operate our business in a lot of communities in southeast Wisconsin and are dealing with staff of those communities. And I will tell you that we haven't had a better relationship than with your staff in Oak Creek. Some communities have a reputation for being anti-business or being very difficult, but your staff is very, very welcoming and very professional. They know their jobs, they know their business, and they're, not that they're giving anything away, but they certainly are cognizant of the difficulties in putting these deals together and are very, very helpful. And I think that's, they deserve the accolades, as do you, for helping us and encouraging us. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam. And just for the record, that was Mr. Sam Dickman of the Dickman Company. Again, those kind words, we feel the same way. We're very proud of people that work here, and truth be known, they're the workhorses that really pull it all together. So again, appreciate the partnership. Speaking of partnerships, tomorrow we celebrate a brand new one with the opening of a Kia. We're very excited about that. We have a worldwide company that's going to call Oak Creek home. We will be opening up tomorrow at 8 a.m., I believe the opening ceremonies are. We're going to have a bit of traffic on Drexel Avenue, so I'm asking everybody to be patient, obey the signs and the rules, and everything will be fine. If you can't get in on opening day, keep in mind they're going to be here for years, so you'll have your opportunity to get in there. Would anybody like to say anything on behalf of the opening of a Kia?
We'll see you there.
Yeah.
Dan, that's another one. We spoke to Sam and congratulated him on his efforts at Oakview. That has been a while. Deb was obviously well involved there. Like Kia is, that's proven to be how effective professional and proactive and positive staff can bring something to fruition in very quick order. So that's been a project that's been remarkable from multiple standpoints, and we should be very proud it's ended up here in how our staff and electeds and everyone else involved has performed there.
So it'll be a great addition not only to Oak Creek, but southeastern Wisconsin and the Wisconsin economy in general, bringing over 1 million visitors a year that will touch our town, use our businesses, and as we always say, discover Oak Creek, because there's a lot to be proud of down here. One other event we have going on, speaking of partners, our business partners have been invited here on May the 23rd. Part of our business retention plan is our staff went out, talked to various businesses to find out where we could better serve them. One of the things we heard was workforce development, finding workers and what have you. So we have 6 agencies coming in, Andrew? 8 agencies to come in that could possibly assist or network with area businesses to help them from everything from employment needs to transportation, license recovery for employees, things like that. That seminar is going to take place here on May the 23rd for about a 4-hour period. So looking forward to that. That's all I got tonight. That's quite enough. But again, thank you, and if we can get a motion for adjournment.
Mayor, before I make that motion to
Go
adjourn,
ahead.
Mod Pizza opens Friday here at Drexel
Oh.
Town Square, so
Very good. Was not aware of that.
yeah,
So, that's another
meatballs tomorrow and pizza on Friday.
another thing to celebrate. There we go.
So Kirkowski will make a motion to adjourn.
Oracle second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Toman.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching or streaming.